Cheese in the Trap, episodes 5 and 6. You guys, so much is going on with this show. If people are waiting to watch this show and just trying to do it in like one foul swoop, their heads are going to be spinning. Because just even in these last 2 episodes, we had so much happen. We had a gay subplot. We had stalker assault subplot. We had possible, psychopathic tendencies subplot. For 2 different characters. So there's a lot that went on with these 2 episodes, and it makes, again, for a really hard review, but I'm going to just jump feet first into it. So hopefully I can make this happen. And excuse me for rubbing my nose. I have allergies, and it's just, my skin itches everywhere. So when I said that there were 2 possibly psychopathic characters, I want to tell you kind of what I consider psychopathic and why I put it with these 2 characters. So when I consider somebody psychopathic, at least in my mind, I'm thinking of somebody who maybe doesn't have a healthy range of emotions, or maybe doesn't have a healthy engagement with the rest of society. Because I look at Jung and the way he's kind of like so internal. Like even when he's happy, he doesn't get like super happy. When he gets angry, he just is kind of neutral. Like he doesn't sneer or spit or yell. He's just kind of like, I'm angry now. I'm happy now. I mean, there's not much difference. And everybody kind of in the story, at the end of episode 5, he kind of gets this commentary from everybody in the story that he's replaying in his mind. And everybody's saying, you're just so weird. You don't understand. You're not like other people. And he's telling himself, no, you guys are the weird ones. And I feel like he's got this detachment from humanity. And while I don't want to say maybe he's psychopathic, I almost feel, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, I almost feel like he's autistic. Like he can't really relate to people. He wants to, and he's trying. And there's things in life he understands when it comes to like schoolwork and business and things like that. He can understand some things, and he's observed humanity enough to kind of understand what's considered right and what's considered wrong. But some of these gray areas that people might have, he kind of is like, I don't understand this grayness you're talking about. It's either right or wrong, but if I have to play the game, I will, but I don't understand why you're just not accepting things the way that I feel like they should be accepted. And it's that it seems like he has a failure to connect with people. And I noticed that a lot about his character in the show. And that's why I say possibly some psychopathic tendencies for him, because he doesn't really connect with people. The other person who I think in this episode really came across to me as possibly psychopathic, and which makes me like the actress more than I did before, is the actress that plays Baekhyuna. So I watched her, she did a stint on Masked King, where she played the flower crab holding flowers. I think that was her character on the Masked King. Anyway, it's a variety show. And when she was on Masked King, she looked like a perfectly reasonable person. She didn't have this ugly sneer. She sounded like a nice girl. She seemed really natural and kind of upbeat and stuff. On the show, of course, she plays like Cruella de Vil practically, with this ugly sneer on her face and just totally over-the-top emotions. But there was a scene that was a flashback scene of Baekhyuna. And that flashback makes me think that she might be kind of psychopathic as well. Like, I feel like she plays the human game. The same way that maybe Jung plays the human game in terms of, I'm pretending to be like the rest of you, even though I don't understand because I'm kind of a robot. I feel like she's like, I'm pretending to have feelings when really I have no feelings for anyone but myself. And what brought that home to me is the way that she treats her brother. From what it sounds like the only family she's ever had that she could truly rely on, or even attempt to rely on, has been her brother. And they showed a scene from when they were young, I guess after their grandfather had died. They were being raised by an aunt. We don't know if she was really their aunt or not because that's just not made clear. And the little girl is fighting with the aunt. And the aunt, I guess, is going to discipline the girl physically. And her, Bacon-ah and the little brother, because they're children in this scene, they run into the other room, and Bacon-ah is like, we need to run away. We need to take Auntie's jewelry, use it to get money, and run away. And they're about to run away when the aunt busts into the room, and Bacon-ah has made it through the window, and Bacon-ah has not, and the aunt's got her. Bacon-ah runs into the street, and I guess this is where Yoo-jung's father comes in, and early Yoo-jung's father sees the little boy, and then Bacon-ah comes out, and she's like, you need to rescue us from Auntie. Auntie's crazy. And then she lifts up her dress, and there's like bruises all over her body. And she's like, Auntie did this to us, and you need to rescue us. And then it shows the adult Bacon-ah laughing and saying, ha, he still falls for that guilt from that time. And then you think about like just what she's shown us in the show so far, using men for money. She calls up an old boyfriend. Of course, he's like, I'm through with you, bitch. I got a new girlfriend, whatever. And she's automatically turned. She goes from being sweet to him when she thinks she can use him to get money to turning on him when she knows that she can't get money from him. With her brother, she can kind of always be nasty to him because she's always got this guilt she can use on him. And also because her brother is actually a nice guy, or I should say at least a decent guy. He's never going to want to see his sister out in the street or not being provided for. So she can get money from him without being nice to him. But it just shows how she's constantly using people to get what she wants. And we don't even really know what her end game is. Is she using these people because she enjoys being able to use people and not have to work for a living? Is she using these people because maybe she's got it in her mind that she's going for this grand plan of whatever? Or is she using people, because it's a game to her? Like, I don't understand her, but I feel like there's something wrong with her that makes it to where she doesn't quite connect with like what it means to be a decent person. And I want to see kind of what happens there. I want to see what her end result ends up being. Because before, I really hated her character. And I still don't like her character. In fact, that whole situation with her brother and her playing on his guilt of running out of the house and leaving her behind with the scary auntie, for her to play that so many years later, I feel like it's awful for her to do. But at the same time, if she's capable of doing stuff like that, you really have to wonder, how far will she go to either maintain a lavish lifestyle or to get people to do her bidding? So that's something I'm really looking forward to in the show. Other things that were interesting in the show, the whole subplot with the teaching assistant and then Hong-sul's neighbor, that kind of gay subplot thing, that was something I did not anticipate at all. And I have to say, the way that the show handled it was really awesome. Yes, there were a couple of like, gay stuff. But then there were a lot more people like, okay, you guys have this relationship. I don't understand it, but whatever. But the main tension or whatever with the relationship, in terms of any negativity, it seemed like it mostly came from the one guy, Joo-young's family. But it wasn't like everyone in their world was unaccepting of this relationship. So yeah, that was something I didn't anticipate happening or seeing, and I thought the way it was handled was really cool. And it wasn't handled in like we're all friends and everybody accepts LGBT. I mean, there was some real conflict there, and conflict that came from a place that can be so recognizable in real life. And it ended in a not very happy way for the two people involved in this relationship, which is kind of the way it is in real life. You've got the one guy whose family won't accept him being in a relationship with a man, so he moves out of the house. But being away from his family is tearing him up inside, but he's willing to do it for his lover. The lover is insecure because he knows that his boyfriend really wants to be with his family, but the only way they can be together is for him to be away from his family, to the point that his boyfriend has to lie and say he's hanging out with friends in order for him to hang out with his family. And then when the whole Jung teacher assistant thing gets out there, they have a moment in the street where they're crying, and he's like, are you really going to go back to your family? But this time he's like, I'm not just going back to my family because I am done with you and my family's better than you. He's in a trap. If I don't go back to my family, Jung might come after you more, and I've got to protect you. Also, our relationship is falling apart because I'm torn between you and my family. So this might be what works out for everybody. Maybe at some point we can come to a way, once I get my law degree and I'm actually living on my own, maybe then we can revisit this situation in our life. But right now, everything is working against us and we've just got to part. And that happens not just in gay relationships, but that happens in straight relationships. So, I felt for that situation a lot. I really did, and I thought it was handled beautifully in the show. Another really cute relationship that I liked in the show, the relationship between Bora and Eun-taek. When he showed up at the hospital and he was there for her the whole way and held her hand and just carried her off to the room when she needed to rest. I thought that was really cool. I also liked seeing how after the kind of friction between Hong-sul and Bora about holding in Hong-sul's feelings, and then they got back together to be friends, and then this episode with Bora's father getting in the hospital and Hong-sul running to be by her side, it shows you kind of how deep their friendship is and why it was possible for them to have this disagreement and come back together the way they do. Instead of it being kind of a superficial friendship, you now kind of know, we've been friends for this long. I know this much about her. We're this close. So that was really cool. I liked that a lot. That was really good job. The character that I worry about the most right now, and the character that I just, who took my heart for these 2 episodes, really is Baekino. From the fact that his sister is just a conniving con artist, he is this former piano prodigy who has his left hand damaged. And when you think about the way people play piano, not being able to use your left hand, that's a lot. It would be a lot for anybody, but that's a lot, and how he's got to go through that trauma of having had that happen. The situation with, I think, the mob boss he's running away from, that whole thing. And then just he's got these feelings for Hong-sul, and none of the feelings that he has for her can be resolved. He can't really like her as a girlfriend because there's the whole Jung thing, and that issue, and how does he approach that? He can't really be friends with her even because he knows he wants more from her than friendship, kind of. He can't give voice to what that feeling is, but he knows he's got a closeness there, and it hurts him to see her happy with Jung. And then, he's got this whole kind of aimless, lost in life thing going on. He can't sit still. He can't put down roots because there's always something there to disrupt him. If it's not his sister, it's the mob boss, it's, Jung, it's everything. He's directionless in the world. And he can't accept charity because he's trying to have a little bit of pride about himself, but he also doesn't really know how to do a lot of things, He's kind of naive in some ways, and I don't know, I just want to hold him. I just want to hold him and give him a hug and tell him it's going to be okay, you can come live with me. But yeah, I don't know, he's so sensitive, and he's the polar opposite of Jung, where Jung is very reserved and it's very powerful, and he can kind of direct things to go the way he wants them to go. Baekino is exactly the opposite. He's very emotional, wears his feelings on his sleeve, can't form a poker face to save his life. He is directionless, he's powerless. The only way he could make it is to maybe feed off somebody else, whereas Jung is trying to prevent people from feeding off of him. And so I have the biggest case of second lead syndrome. It's crazy how much second lead syndrome I have, but these 2 episodes have really brought it home for me, and I I don't know what's going to happen with our baby since he left the teaching academy after the fight he had with the stalker. But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with him. And finally, I want to talk about Hong-sul, because Hong-sul, she is us in this drama, I think. At least to me, the character I relate to the most is Hong-sul, because she's not perfect. And I love that. Like, even her smile is kind of goofy, but it's endearing and I love it. But she has these doubts. And the way that she addresses her doubts, to me at least, are very realistic. There are times when she feels comfortable talking to Yoo-jung about some of the questions he has for him. Sometimes she doesn't. She spends a lot of time apologizing to him. But then she's drawn into these situations where she has to kind of give him the side eye. I mean, when it comes to the whole teaching assistant thing and finding out that he blackmailed the teaching assistant into getting her the scholarship and didn't say anything to her about it. And she's like, you know, I'm not mad that I got the scholarship. I'm mad because you didn't ask me. Because again, you've got somebody who has got all this power and you're beholden to him. He's gotten her the free English academy. He's gotten her the scholarship. And he got her the job as the office aide. And yes, she's grateful because it gives her an opportunity to do things she hadn't been able to do. But at the same time, she's also of the mind, I owe you so much. You're doing so much for me. And I feel like I'm being played, like I'm a puppet. Especially when she asked him about, you know, what changed between last year when you didn't like me and now you like me. And that's something that I've been waiting for her to ask him about, because I think it's been on all of our minds. He went from not liking her and maybe even actively antagonizing her, we'll talk about that in a second, to being, I want to date you, let's go out. And they show kind of what changed his mind, what it is about her and like her personality that drew him to her, that, you know, she's one of those people that she just keeps trying and she's very caring and she's not what he assumed. He assumed right off the bat that maybe she was cold-hearted and kind of like, ugh, whatever. And then he found out that no, she actually is, you know, pretty selfless, which is what he likes to think of himself as being, Yoo-jung. So I'm glad she asked him, you know, what made the change. I was not happy that he didn't answer what made the change, because I think that that would have been something that would have maybe drew them a little bit closer and that she deserved that answer. But I'm glad that, you know, she asked it. I'm glad that she stood up for herself when she felt like she's been being manipulated by him. The only thing that I wanted her to confront him about, and maybe it's just timing wise, maybe she's holding it in, she's waiting for a better moment, or maybe it scared her, I don't know, but this guy was stalking her. He had stalked her last year when her and Yoo-jung weren't getting along, and somehow or another Yoo-jung was the catalyst for him stalking Hong-sul. Then this year, as she's coming out of the teaching academy, or the English academy, and she's in the convenience shop, she sees him again, and he's like super aggressive, like scary aggressive. And I was really scared for Hong-sul. I was really scared for her. And then again, he keeps saying about how, you know, this is Yoo-jung's fault, and he's the one who put us against each other, and he started all this. She thinks about that while she's in class, but when she leaves class, she sees Yoo-jung on the street. She just runs to him happy, like, oh, hey, it's nice to see you again, boyfriend. And to me, I don't know, like, she was willing to ask him the other question. She's like, don't do stuff for me unless, you know, you talk to me about it. What is it that you like about me? Because I really want to know. She has opened up all these lines of communication with him, but she won't ask him about, did you send this crazy person after me? Because I don't know about you, but that's practically unforgivable. I mean, this guy, he assaulted her in the street, you know, grabbing her arm and like, don't play hard to get. I know you like me. I mean, that can get into some really scary territory. Like when somebody has a feeling about you or they have desires about you, and they can't be reasoned with, and you can't just tell them, hey, I'm not interested, which she clearly tried to do, that's a dangerous individual you're dealing with. And you wonder, did Yoo-jung purposefully direct this guy in that direction? Did he know what he was doing when he did this? What were his intentions? What really happened? Did he really even have anything to do with the situation? And if he did, and if he actually knew how crazy this guy was and how he was going to treat Hong-sul, what? So yeah, so many questions. Every episode might answer 2 questions and then give you 5 more to think about. But again, another stellar episode of Cheese in the Trap. I hope you guys are loving it. I want to hear your comments down below. And let's just keep watching. All right, guys. Thank you.